What is going on, guys? Miles here and welcome to my gun guide for the ITRA burst rifle, which is one of the new DLC weapons in Call of Duty World War II. First we'll take a look at the stats for this weapon and we'll use that information to come up with a best class setup, so let's do this. Before we start, I'd just like to give a shout out to another YouTuber called KingXStudX who let me use the gameplay which you're seeing in the background of the ITRA burst. I don't actually have this weapon myself, I am saving my armory credits because I'll probably be buying this at the very end of the event, but he let me use his gameplay, so shout out to him. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. But let's take a look at the actual stats for the ITRA burst, which is the 4-bullet burst rifle in the game. The damage will range anywhere between 33 and 24 depending on how far away the enemy is, which makes the weapon anywhere between a 3 to 5 bullet kill. The damage is about average, I would say, amongst the rifles in the game. The maximum damage isn't really that great, but the minimum damage is actually pretty good compared to the other rifles. I did say it was a 3 to 5 bullet kill, but chances are it's probably going to be like a 4 bullet kill and quite often a 5 bullet kill, because to get a 3 bullet kill you have to get at least 2 headshots, which is pretty difficult to do as the headshots give a 1.1 times multiplier, so chances are it's going to take 4 or 5 bullets to kill, which is pretty important considering it's a 4 burst weapon. Because it means if you're pretty accurate with the weapon, then there's a pretty good chance you can just one-shot someone with this weapon, which is what makes me think this weapon is going to be very powerful, and I think a lot of you guys are going to want to craft this one. One of the other really important stats to consider alongside the damage is the rate of fire, and the ITRA burst is the best in class in terms of the rate of fire, as you might expect because it is the only burst weapon in the game. It has a rate of fire of 967 rounds per minute, and that is including the delay in between shots, which is 112 milliseconds or 0.112 seconds. The M1941 comes in second at 800 rounds per minute, so it's about 20% faster than any other rifle in the game, which is pretty nuts in my opinion. And if you don't consider the burst in between shots, the weapon actually has a fire rate of 1,765 rounds per minute, which is absolutely crazy. That is over double any other rifle in the game. But the delay in between shots is fairly large, and that's what makes the weapon not completely broken. If it was like a fully auto weapon, we're shot at 1,700 rounds per minute, but we can actually see just how much of an effect the delay actually has on the time to kill for this weapon, because I created an equation where you can find the time to kill based on the amount of bursts which you shoot. So the time to kill is just going to be a sum of the time spent firing and the time which you spend in the delay period, multiplied by X, which is the amount of bursts which you shoot in order to kill someone. Now the shooting time for one burst is 136 milliseconds, whereas the delay, like I said, is 112 milliseconds, so we can create an equation where Y is the time to kill, and to find Y, you need to times X by 136, which is the shooting time, and you need to times 112 by X minus 1, which is the delay time. The reason I'm multiplying the delay by X minus 1 is because on the final shot when you kill someone, the delay isn't really important because the person is already dead and therefore the time to kill has already stopped. So let's find the time to kill for the ITRA burst when you shoot the weapon once, twice or 3 times. Now bear in mind, I believe the average time to kill in COD World War II is about 250 milliseconds, but if you kill someone in one burst with the ITRA, then it only takes 136 milliseconds, which is absolutely crazy. That is almost half the average time to kill, which is incredibly fast, but this is pretty difficult to do because you have to land all the bullets and they have to be at a reasonably close range, so chances are you'll probably have to shoot 2 bursts in order to kill them. And shooting 2 bursts takes 384 milliseconds because you have to factor in the delay, and that is way worse than the average time to kill. So this weapon is a bit of a strange one, as it can be very powerful if you kill someone in one burst, but it is very weak if you take 2 or 3 bursts to kill. For 3 bursts it actually takes 632 milliseconds, which is incredibly high. That's around 2.5 times the average time to kill. So the one thing that equation tells me is that you need to be incredibly accurate with this weapon for it to be viable, and if you can't shoot people accurately, then this weapon is going to be complete garbage. So we're going to make our best class setup based around accuracy, but first let's take a look at some of the other statistics as well. The range for the weapon is a little bit worse than average. The damage begins to drop off much earlier than the other rifles, but the minimum damage is around the same as all the other rifles, which is 1500 units. The weapon does feature the most amount of bullets in a single magazine compared to all the other rifles in the game, but it is only 32 compared to 30. And on the flip side, since the weapon is a 4 bullet burst, you could say you only can shoot the weapon 8 times before having to reload, so you could even say that the ITRA doesn't actually have that much ammo in a magazine. Speaking of reload time, the weapon actually has the longest reload time out of all the rifles in the game, which is 2 seconds, which is joint first with the FG42. And finally, it also has the worst aim down sights time out of all the rifles in the game, and it takes 260 milliseconds, which is crazy long considering the time to kill which I was mentioning earlier. Alright, so they are all of the important stats to note for the weapon. Now let's come up with a best class setup. Right off the bat, I'm 100% going to recommend quick draw, because like I just mentioned, the weapon has a super long aim down sights time, which really isn't ideal if you want to kill people really quickly with that single burst, so I would definitely recommend quick draw just so you can snap on targets and reduce the total killing time. The second most important attachment I would say is gotta be extended mags, because I feel like it synergizes with the weapon really well. Like I said, the weapon has a very high fire rate, so you're going to be burning through ammo very quickly with this weapon, and extended mags increases your ammo from 32 to 48, giving you 12 bursts before you have to reload. And I also mentioned that the weapon has a long reload time, and obviously with extended mags you're going to have to reload less frequently as well, so I would definitely recommend extended mags. I kind of struggled to come up with a third attachment. I was thinking about rapid fire, which increases your rate of fire from 967 rounds per minute to 1034. But the thing with rapid fire is the delay time is still the same, and you're going to have a bit more kick when actually shooting, which could cause you to miss a bullet in one of your bursts, and then you'll have to shoot another burst, which will increase your time to kill by an absolute crap ton. So I'm not 100% sure on rapid fire, but I think advanced rifling or even foregrip might be pretty good to help secure those one burst kills. As for choosing a division, I would probably go with the armored division. It doesn't really synergize well with the weapon, but I just feel like that division is so OP right now, and it just seems like the best division by far in my opinion, so that's the one I would 100% go with. And finally, for your basic training, I would recommend Scoped, which you unlock by prestiging the infantry division. And Scoped gives you less idle sway whilst aiming down sights, and it also allows you to move faster whilst ADS, so that's obviously going to help improve your accuracy a ton, which is very, very important with this weapon. But that just about sums up my gun guide for the ITRA Burst. Basically, the weapon is very good if you're accurate, or is complete trash if you're not very accurate with the weapon, and that is why I decided to build my best class setup based around accuracy of the weapon. But let me know what you think of the ITRA Burst down in the comments below, and if you guys found the video useful, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Call of Duty. And once again, shout out to KingXStudX for letting me use the gameplay in the background of this video. Make sure you check out his channel. I'll leave a link in the description and the comments, but I'll see you guys in another video.